Kar Shalom, welcome to Heinrich Edgecome Art. In this video, which is part 1 of a 2-part tutorial, we are going to pay attention to creating a sky and a foreground for a landscape. The background or first layer can sometimes make or break your landscape. The sky should be interesting and have depth, and your foreground should portray a natural terrain. The materials used are listed in the description below. For this painting, the paper is taped to a plastic board, which is flat on the table. We don't want the colors to flow and blend too much. We want to use the brush to guide the paint. Use a spray bottle to wet the top third of the paper. Spray the water randomly so that there are dry areas on the paper as well. We want to create a sky that has some dark clouds, so we will use raw sienna, a mix of French ultramarine and transparent orange, or you can also use French ultramarine and burnt sienna if you do not have transparent orange. And we will also use pure French ultramarine. You can use a large brush that will hold plenty of moisture. Start with a raw sienna for the lighter areas in the sky. In watercolor, we usually work from light to dark. Raw sienna is an ideal pigment to use, as it will not become green when you add the gray mix of French ultramarine and transparent orange to the sky area. Wet your brush and then sweep lightly over the painted area to help the paint spread. Be sure to leave plenty of white spaces, as you will need to fill some of that in with the grey and with the French ultramarine. The white spaces will then later represent your white clouds. Add the grey mix and spread it lightly with a brush. Because you've created a wet-on-wet environment here, you will use your pigments a little bit stronger. Otherwise, it's just going to disappear into the wet environment and you'll have to add another layer. And you don't really want to do that at the moment. Then you can also add some French ultramarine for the brighter, bluer patches in your sky. Your sky should be darker at the top of the page and lighter towards the horizon to create depth. To make it a bit more interesting, you can also splatter some of the paint mixes into the sky. They will diffuse into the existing layer as the layer is wet, and it will actually create an interesting new color scheme, color variation when you do that. If you spray the paper instead of wetting the entire paper with a brush, you will create soft and hard edges in your sky, which will make it more interesting. The grey and French ultramarine are your cooler colors, which push the sky area further into the background. And that is exactly what you want. When you are done with your sky area and you are happy with your color combinations, you can allow the sky area to dry thoroughly. For your foreground, you can use a flat brush or the same large brush you used for the sky. Here we will use warmer colors to bring the foreground more forward. For the foreground, we are going to work wet on dry. Contrary to what we did in the sky, you need your pigments more diluted for the foreground. So add a bit more water to your palette, because now your watery paint will create the wet environment. You can start with a green mix, which is raw sienna and French ultramarine, and then you can follow it with a grey mix. At first you can draw your brush horizontally over the paper, but you will vary the brush strokes later to give more texture to your terrain and to vary the slopes. Using the same color combinations as in the sky create harmony and brings unity between your sky area and your terrain. Once again, you will place the darker, cooler colors at the back or closer to your horizon line, and the warmer, lighter colors nearer to the bottom or the front of your picture plane. A flat brush is ideal for this type of landscape, as you can use the broad side, the side, or the tip of the brush to create different textures and effects. Try to keep your horizon line as straight as possible. You can tape a strip of masking tape on top of your horizon line to help you if you worry about keeping a straight line. The different brush strokes have now created an undulating foreground, which seems to stretch into eternity. This background is ideal for creating a seascape or a desert scene or a landscape with trees. Once you've painted your first layer, it's a good idea to stand the painting upright and look at it from a distance. This will help you to gauge the intensity of the color you still need to add and where to place your elements if you are creating a spontaneous landscape. Looking at it from a distance will certainly give you a different perspective on what you have created. Viewing it from different angles will also give you different points of view regarding the placement of your elements. You are now ready to add your own ideas, which you are welcome to share with us on Facebook or Instagram. We would love to see what you have done with your background. There will be a follow-up video for this one. In part 2 of this tutorial, we will use the background we created and then show you how to add a few simple elements, how to vary between light and dark, and how to create perspective in your landscape. Don't forget to share your versions with us. Please like, subscribe, and leave us your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching. Vaya con Dios.